Yeah, so welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is hashing, and due to some issues, it leads to collision and how to avoid it. In the previous occasions, we were looking into the linear search, which was our very trivial one, where one by one we were going through each and every value, and in case of your worst case scenario, the running time is something which is proportional to your order n, and which is like something which is not acceptable, because let's assume I have some random values, and these the value which I'm looking for, which is v, let's say, and it is kept at the end, so I have to go through the entire one, and then which takes your order n time, which is something which is huge. Then we found, okay, there was some amount of improvement with the help of your binary search, where we kept on dividing based on the data values. But yes, the condition here was that the array should be either in your ascending order or in descending order. That's what the condition was. Then only it used to give us the order of log n time. So the point was that can we do something so that this search operation time can be minimized to something which is proportional to your order 1, which is very low. So for this we have a solution, and that particular solution we have is called as your hash tables. Now this hash table is nothing but a data structure where these keys are mapped to the array positions. So what we do is we take the key values, and that particular thing is mapped to your array positions, which is nothing but your direct access table. We'll see what basically it is in the next slide. And this mapping is done with this particular hash function. We'll have a discussion on this as well. Hash function is something which is used to generate these values. So with the help of these two things, we are able to achieve this order 1 time. That's something which is huge, and that's why this hash table is preferred a lot. There are some limitations of it as well, but that also we'll see in the coming minutes. So hash function generates your address from the key, and this address generation is done by producing the index of arrays where the value is stored. So how it works actually is that we have, let's say, a universe of keys. Right, we have a universe of keys, which is u. So we'll have some key values, out of which we take some keys, right, the actual keys. So it can be some 2, 4, maybe 6, and so this will be your values k, right? And this is a universe, right? Recall your set theory. We had a universal set, and then in between we had something for our usage. So this was universal set, this was set A. So here assume that this is something which is a universe of keys, where we have all sorts of values, like not only these 2, 4, 6, but I have like some random 1, 2, sorry, 2 is already included, so maybe 1, 3, 5, 9, and so on and so forth. Now this we have a set k. What it is, we have, let's say, k which is equals to your 2, 4, 6. So what actually it is doing is it is determining the slots in a particular table that contains pointers to the elements. So what we have is, we have this particular table, and this is nothing but a direct access, or maybe address. In most of the literatures it is called as address as well. In your one of the course it will also be called as your access, but let's use it as address, so you'll be more familiar with these terms. Table, it can be termed as T or a DAT, and the size of this is n, right? So it's like size becomes n. In this particular thing, what happens is I'll have, let's say I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this 2 will be pointing towards this, 4 will be pointing towards this, 6 will be pointing towards this. And in return, what we have is, we have here, I have 2, I have a value v1, data value. I have 4, which is like 4, and I have v2. Then I have, let's say 6, and I have v3. So what we have is these are your key values, and these are your data values. Now this key is placed in the, let's say, any kth slot, and that takes us to the data values. So these are nothing but the pointers or just association between the key values, and with the help of this, what happens is that we can store the value associated with the key in some slots. And what happens is that the address that don't have corresponding keys are simply here kept as nil. For example, in this case it would be nil, like it doesn't have any values, right? Because once some values are added, so it dumps here, then this particular thing is removed. Now, so what we can do is, in this particular thing, I have like insertion, deletion, and even search. So all these operations, likewise your insertion and deletion and your search, right? All these things will take the order 1. That means what we can do is, in this case, I can directly go to the key through the address and access the value. So from key to this and that. Although we have like 2 suggestions here, right? The size of the array, this particular array size should not be too large, and no two elements have the same key. So no 2 elements should have the same key. Now how we are doing this? So we are doing this with the help of something which is called as your hash functions, right? So we were talking about hash tables. Now we are talking about hash functions. Now in this hash function, this is nothing but a mathematical formula where we are applying to this particular key. So this hash function h of k produces an integer. How it produces, we'll see in the coming slides, which is nothing but the index of the key in the hash table. So this hk is producing an integer which is nothing but the index for the key in the hash table, right? So this particular thing maps all the keys to the slots of an array, right? So mapping takes place, and how it takes place, that we'll see. So mapping will be done somewhere here. Hash function will play a role. So maybe I'll try to explain this in different words. I have a key, I have an array. I have this particular hash function that can make a suggestion as to where the index of the key should be stored in the particular array. Now let's talk something more about your hash functions. So this hash function will be mapping all the keys to the slots of an array. And how it will work? It will work based on the type, which is division and multiplication. But before that, let's talk about the properties of an effective hash function. So first of all, it should be economical. That means it should be cost effective. The cost should be very low. Second one is that hash function should use all the input data, that the entire data which has been given, that should be used, that should be utilized. And the last one is that the hash function generates very different values for similar strings. That means there should not be any repetition, because if there will be a repetition, so definitely I'll go ahead with the collision, and also we'll talk about that as well. So we have like several ways how it works. One is like division method, another one is your multiplication method. So in case of your division method, this how it works is that right now I'm talking about the first one. In this, how it works is that h of key is equals to key mod the table size or the m. So this is like key mod table size, right? And this is the most simple method of hashing an integer. So what it does is that this particular thing will be dividing the key by m, and we'll be using the remainder because it's mod sign, which is obtained. Now this division method is something which is very good for any value of m, and it will require only a single division operator, right? So operator load is also low, and it makes it very fast. But yes, I need to take extra care in order to select the value of m, because if it is very large, then it is not serving the purpose. Like for example, if I have a very huge number, then of course it is not serving the purpose. Let's take an example where I'm taking a value as, let's say, key I have as, let's say randomly 1440, and my table size, which is m, which is equals to, let's say I have 40. So the hash value is 1440 mod 40, which turns out to be as 0. And I have another key value which is 2400. Now what I get is hash value is equals to 24000 mod 40, which is once again 0. In this case, we have identified a problem where my hash value is repeating, and it can be seen that this particular hash function can generate same hash. So in this particular case, it is termed as collision. And what we can do is, there are ways to avoid this particular collision. We have like linear probing, and then we have some other options as well. But at this moment of time, just identify that there are issues, right? Now let's talk about hashing by multiplication. So in the second one, what we do is, there are several steps. The first one is, what we do is that we multiply the key by a constant, and constant c, let's say, and this is key k, and this constant c should be in between 0 and 1. Then what we do is, so this multiplication takes place, that is your k into c, where my my c is in between 0 and 1. Now the next step is extract the fractional part. And extract the fractional part of this k cross c, and then multiply the result of this fractional part of this k cross c by size of hash table, which is m. So what we get is, in this particular case, I can write my hash function as it should be floor, m into, or I took capital M, let's say capital M, I'll make it clear, capital M into your k cross c mod 1, and that's how we calculate this. So one of the benefit of this method is that it practically works with any value of this particular constant. So although it works for any value, but Knuth's suggested the best choice for C, which is 0.6180, right? So this has come from a calculation which Knuth has said, which is your square root of 5 minus 1 by 2, from where we get this particular value. Now, since we identified that in one of the examples we ended into collision, right? So there are chances that my hash function will create some issues. That means when a key is hashed into the same array slot as another key, then we reach into a position which is called as collision. In other words, what I am trying to say is that two records cannot be stored in the same location, right? So for two values, if I am pointing towards the same location, then it would be called as your collision. And there are several techniques for this collision resolution. We'll talk about linear probe in this context. So there are various techniques. One is your open addressing. Another one is your chaining. We'll talk. So in open addressing, we place an item somewhere other than its calculated position. That means my key has pointed to a particular location, but yet I am deliberately keeping to a different location. And this can be done using linear probing, where a linear search is used to find an available slot, and finding an item also will involve this particular linear search. So what we do is, in linear probing, this linear probing is also known as your simplicity. So what we do is, previously, in order to resolve this collision, what we do is we take this h of k comma I equals to h dash k plus I mod a, where a is your same array size. So what it does is that I have this a as the size of hash table, and your I is nothing but a probe number, and you might have got an idea, since we are doing some shifting, so it will be somewhere between 0 to m minus 1, or here it is a minus 1. So for a given key k, I can have this particular value from 0 to the last one. And that's how it's like I am trying to find the vacant position where it can be adjusted. That means this linear probing is an attempt to find an empty slot. We can have addition to this. Instead of linear probe, what I can have is I can have a quadratic probe as well. That's also possible. There are various ways to find this empty slot and fix the values. So from linear